So I wasn't even going to make this video. I initially planned for this week's video to be on Plants vs. Zombies, but I wanted to give that video the time it deserves and not rush it out to meet a deadline, so I decided to push it back a week. I know a lot of people hate Fortnite, but I would really like to discuss where I think this season went wrong and how to avoid it in the future. We are now a whopping 5 months into Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1, easily making it the longest season in the history of Fortnite by a factor of 3. I think that most people would agree that this has been one of the weakest seasons of the game to date, but of course nothing is that black and white. If you had told me that I would be saying something like that back in November, I would have called you crazy. So what happened to Season 1? Chapter 2 of Fortnite followed immediately after the most destructive event in the history of the game, the end. The entire story of Season X, the last season of Chapter 1, revolved around a character called the Visitor and his team, only known as the Seven, trying to find a way to release the island from the time loop it found itself in after the 0 point was destabilized at the end of Season 9, putting the whole island into a state of chaos. The Visitor ultimately succeeded in his plan and used his rocket to finally destroy the 0 point, sucking the entire island into a black hole. And then silence. 3 days of silence. Epic deactivated all of their social media accounts, and all anyone would see if they tried to log in was this swirling image of a black hole. People couldn't even play Save the World, a completely separate, unrelated, $40 game. They could play a Space Invaders clone. And frankly, it was a genius publicity stunt. All eyes were on Fortnite, and just before people started getting bored with it, boom, Chapter 2 dropped, and man was it a good drop. All the characters you know, love, and presume dead, all popping out on the other end of the wormhole. And then that scene where your character jumps out of the back of the battle bus, only for you to realize that they put you in an actual game. I fangirled. This is the greatest cinematic trailer in Fortnite history, hands down. This kicked off Chapter 2, a complete reboot of Fortnite, new map, highly streamlined weapon options, an entirely reworked level system. As someone who started playing in Chapter 1 Season 2, this felt exactly like the game I often longed to return to. Season X was a great season, but I think a lot of people will agree that by that point the game had just gotten messy. Not in Chapter 2. Streamlined. The map actually felt like a place that could realistically exist again. The new leveling system made you feel like you were constantly making progress, even when you weren't doing challenges, and the weapons really took it back to basics. No drum shotgun or boom boxes or batarangs. But despite, at least in my opinion, starting off stronger than any season before it, Chapter 2's problems started straight away. You know how I mentioned that after the black hole, all communication from Epic stopped? Well, it never really started back up after that. Starting in Chapter 2, they discontinued patch notes. Yeah, I never really understood this decision. It was super annoying not knowing for sure what changed in a new update, and this led to unnecessary deaths. Fortunately, they realized that exactly nobody liked this change and scrapped it after a few updates. And shortly after that, they scrapped updates, but we'll cover that in a minute. So, the lack of communication was super annoying, but even bigger than that was the absolute crippling lack of mobility on the map. No hoverboards, no quad crashers, no grappling hooks, not even launch pads. If you want to move across the map, you are walking. Well, either that or swimming in the river if it happens to be going the direction you want it to go, which it never is. And the boats do not help. They're way too hard to find, and if you play in decent lobbies, you'll get shot out of them before you can even move 3 feet away. Decent lobbies? Oh yeah, third thing. This is the season it introduced skill-based matchmaking, meaning that people are put into lobbies with other people of a similar skill level. Awesome, right? No. Before skill-based matchmaking, your skill was put up against the skill of the general player base. Your skill could improve relative to the average. The better you got, the more kills and wins you would get, and the less you would die. Now, thanks to skill-based matchmaking, if you ever actually start to improve relative to the people in your lobbies, you'll just get put in a higher skill lobby, meaning that no matter how hard you try, no matter how good you get, you'll still get about the same amount of kills and wins because the people around you will just get better too. So, there were plenty of initial problems with the season, but if I'm being honest, I barely even noticed them. Every season has had its problems, some bigger than others. We got a whole new map. I was busy exploring. But by month 5, that map wasn't so new anymore, and I wasn't so excited. You see, in early December, right when it was almost time for Season 2 to start, Epic Games announced that they would be extending Season 1 through early February. I'm not gonna lie, I was upset. I had already been done with my Battle Pass for weeks. I was ready for something new to do, a new Battle Pass, new locations. Up to this point, Season 1 had been dry. The weekly updates had stopped. We hadn't gotten a new weapon in months. It was just stale. Now, they did make what some people might call an effort over the winter holidays with Winterfest, a Christmas-themed event where you could unwrap a new gift once every day for 14 days, including pickaxes, gliders, and even a couple of skins. Of course, you didn't actually have to do anything to earn these gifts. You could easily just log in on the 14th day and unwrap everything like I did on my second account. They covered the map in snow and added some wintry locations, which were actually pretty cool, but they were promptly removed at the end of the event, despite some being in areas that were already snowy. They also promised a live event, which turned out to be nothing but a shameless Disney sellout that turned the whole game into a commercial for a while and made it borderline unplayable thanks to the OP Star Wars weapons. And then nothing. They just kind of left the game to rot for 2 months. We got some overtime challenges like always, which are boring because getting rewards as a standalone thing for completing challenges isn't nearly as fun as working on the Battle Pass. I dedicated 2 consecutive days of my life to not sleeping so I could grind to level 350 and max out this skin that I'll never use. And then at the beginning of February, they extended the season for another 2 weeks because I guess 20 weeks isn't enough time to do something that they've been consistently doing in 10 weeks for over 2 years. Chapter 2 Season 1 had the potential to be great. They started solid, fantastic even, but that's just not enough to hold the player base for over half a year. I don't even need weekly updates, just something to make me want to log in every once in a while. It's not too late. Season 2 looks like a return to form, even if it's chock full of Disney ads. I'm looking forward to what the future holds. I just hope it holds something. My sub count is actually doing pretty good before this video goes up. Hopefully me talking about Fortnite doesn't ruin that. I talk about all types of games, so if that seems interesting to you, then maybe you should subscribe. Also drop a like on this video, even though I'll understand if you don't. And of course follow me on social media. The links are in the description. And as always, thanks for watching.